Hello everybody, Flamin' Shark back with another video. Today giving you guys another blind commentary, blind reaction, and review. We're doing Infinity Train Season 1. So if you guys want to check out my reaction, it'll be down below in the description. You guys know what to do. You got the options down there to check out my reaction. It's 3 hours long, so you know, fair warning, it's a big one, so you might not want to do it all in one sitting, or maybe you do, but if you do, you definitely want to strap in. A lot of good stuff there. But we're going to talk about Infinity Train, and I actually forgot to pull up the synopsises. I do have a few notes. I actually really don't have many. But this is going to be interesting, because this is a show that I was hoping I wouldn't have to, I was really hoping that I wouldn't have to make a review and just would be able to post my reaction, but unfortunately I wasn't able to get it up on YouTube, at least not right away, so that's why this video is a little later than I was hoping for. It's also why we're going to, what the fuck, it's also, Jesus, oh my god, it's also why you're getting this redirect for it. So yeah, Infinity Train. Really potato stuff here. So, my general thoughts on this, because I am kind of doing, this is going to be, I think, more of a general thoughts on Infinity Train video as opposed to an episode by episode video, which was kind of more so what I did with episodes 289 to 292 of Fairy Tail. I think it's a case-by-case basis. In this case, because I'm doing the entire season of Infinity Train, I think I want to tackle this as more of a kind of overall thoughts. So, go and check out the reaction if you want. If not, I'm about to get into actual talk on the episodes in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and let's talk. So Infinity Train was awesome. I think that goes without saying that Infinity Train was fantastic, and it really was a lot of what I wanted. You know, in the end, when you haven't even seen a single actual episode of the show, even though we'll get into the fact that the pilot pretty much got adapted more or less as episode 3 of Infinity Train, but when you haven't really seen any of the show, and you're judging a show based on potential, you don't, you know, trying to say, oh, I want the show to go this way, this way, this way, is saying a lot. But I think what my opinions were on the pilot, because as you guys know, I'm a huge fan of the Infinity Train pilot. My thoughts were basically, this show's fucking awesome. I hope, you know, or this pilot's fucking awesome. I hope this gets made into a show. And I trust that based on this pilot, I trust that Owen has a really good idea on how to make a great series out of this. And I feel like I was right, in my personal opinion, because this show was awesome. And despite only being basically a movie, it was, you know, 99 minutes of Infinity Train content, not count, or sorry, it was, no, it was way more than 99. It was, what, 110? Yeah, 110 plus the pilot, but not counting the pilot. It was 110 minutes of content. So basically, a movie's worth of Infinity Train content. And it was absolutely just fantastic. You know, I think it had a clear, concise direction because of its small amount. Because it was made to be such a short show, it allowed itself to get right into the heart of its story and the narrative it was trying to tell, which I think is something that you don't see that often with cartoons. And beyond that, it created a sense of mystery that still existed even after the final episode and left you wondering what's next, and left you with as many questions as there are answers as it pertains to the Infinity Train itself, which is the namesake of the show. You know, Tulip was an absolutely fantastic character. I don't know if she's going to be back for Season 2 because, as you guys will have known, Season 1 was very much a story that had a beginning, a middle, and an end. Tulip's story, for all intents and purposes, was completed in the final episode of Season 1 of Infinity Train, which makes me wonder, next season, because this is confirmed to be returning, are we going to be following a new main character and their journey on the Infinity Train, or will we double back to Tulip in some form or manner? Now, personally, I'm fine either way, because Tulip is an amazing character. I'd love to see more of her, but to have a kind of anthology-type show with Infinity Train, I think would also be really cool, and it would give them a lot of freedom to tell, these kind of shorter stories. And it would make this format of basically, since they dropped the whole season within the amount of a week, not even so much necessarily like a bomb format, but literally kind of like a Netflix format, where they're just releasing a season, or in this case, one Infinity Train story at a time over the course of a week. In this case, it's opposed to literally all at once, but basically all at once, and giving us something really memorable, hopefully, each time. So, Tulip is a child who parents have divorced, and she has issue with that, and a lot of deep-rooted conflict inside her based on her parents' divorce. And that's something that kind of is a recurring theme in this season, is not running away from your problems. And that comes up with Amelia as well. And, accepting reality for what it is and not running away in fantasy, which is such a great lesson that comes up in shows like Neon Genesis Evangelion, just as an example. It's really interesting to see how Infinity Train portrayed that message, in this cartoon format. And yet, we had episodes like The Cat's Car, episode 5, that was so intense and so real. And I think it's something that kids and adults alike can connect to, and especially kids who are going through the same stuff that Tulip's going through, because I think this show could have a lot of resonance for kids who have divorced parents and are around Tulip's age, and feel all this pain and uncertainty as they're going through all the changes in their life, with puberty and all that stuff, while also having, all the angst of a normal teenager on top of having, parents who don't get along as well as you'd wish they would. So, I think Owen told a story. Now, I don't know Owen that personally. I don't know if Owen went through anything akin to that in his childhood, but regardless of whether he did or not, I think he did a very tasteful and very real portrayal of that from the perspective of all three, the mom, the dad, and Tulip, but obviously particularly from Tulip's perspective. I thought they did a really good job with that, so I was really impressed with the whole divorce kind of storyline that was kind of built into Tulip's character. And despite the parents barely being in this at all, were kind of the driving force for Tulip in so many ways, and I thought that was really clever. And to bring her kind of her life beyond the Infinity Train to be the driving force of her life on the Infinity Train was something that I think was really well done. And I'm really happy that they managed to pull that off as well as they did. So props to the Infinity Train crew for that. And I was really impressed. So the Infinity Train was not really explained much at all in this, and I thought that was really interesting. Because we know that 1-1 was the original conductor, and obviously over time the conductor became Amelia, and now 1-1's once again the conductor heading into season 2, whatever that might entail. And it didn't really explain anything about the creation of the Infinity Train, why it exists, any of that, where they fucking are when they're on the Infinity Train. And it's really interesting because I'm curious what the long-term story they're going to tell us there, because obviously that's going to be a ongoing mystery for a long time, I expect, the origins of the Infinity Train and all that stuff. And that's a story that can be told. And again, regardless of whether they go back to the well with Tulip or they kind of do a new story with a new character, this show is called Infinity Train. In the end, it is actually about the train itself. And I can't wait to see where this show goes from here. I think that was probably the most interesting part about the ending. Like, if I knew straight up that, like, episode 10 was just the end of the series, I probably would have had a bigger reaction to it and really would just be like, oh my god, this was amazing. And I still said that shit. But knowing that it's not the end of Infinity Train, I just can't wait to see where they go and how they take care of this property moving forward. And I have a lot of faith that Owen knows what he's doing and has a plan in place that's going to be really fucking good. But, yeah, it's great shit. I'm very intrigued. I have a lot of ideas, but, you know, I mean, I could see a lot of really deep theories about what the Infinity Train is actually meant to represent, and I guess we'll find out in time, or maybe we won't. So Tulip sung a song I didn't think I'd ever hear on a Cartoon Network show. All I'm gonna say about that was amazing. Good on UCN for getting those copyrights, or getting permission, or whatever the fuck happened there, because that was hilarious. What else do I want to talk about? Because, like I said, I don't really want to go through these particular episodes episode by episode, because I don't want to make a 2-hour review when I already have a 3-hour reaction. Because I feel like I said so much in the reaction as far as the specific episodes. Let's talk about Chrome Tulip, because I think even if Tulip isn't in Season 2, I think there's a very good chance we see Chrome Tulip in Season 2. Hell, you could actually follow Chrome Tulip as even the main character of Season 2. I think that would actually be a very unique twist that you could do for the future of Infinity Train. But what I was going to say as it pertained to Tulip, or Chrome Tulip, was I thought that was a very great, almost melancholy take on our perception of existence. And I thought this show had a lot of commentary on the idea, like I said, of fantasy versus reality. But there was something about Chrome Tulip that resonated with me in that way, where it was like, you know, she kind of embodied, you know, and obviously it was done in a super cartoony way and all that, but she kind of embodies that existence, because she was someone who had to exist within Tulip's existence, and while never truly being Tulip, and now she gets this chance to be herself. And I think, you know, there's a lot of it's very poetic, to say the least. The ball pit car was incredibly fucked up. When they killed Atticus, but then he actually turned into one of those weird soul-sucking bugs, I have to say that has to be one of probably the more memorable moments in cartoon history for me. That was fucked. That was so fucked. The fact that it all turned out well in the end obviously takes away from it a little bit, but in the heat of the moment, it didn't. I mean, obviously we still had 2 episodes to fix it, but that was one of the craziest things that was so insane and just so brutal. And the way that episode ended, with 1-1 telling Tulip that it's okay to cry, and Tulip just finally, if I'm not mistaken, for either the first or second time in the series, crying and just breaking down crying. It was one of the most bone-chilling moments I've ever seen in a cartoon. Really, in general, like, that moment was incredible, and I was so impressed with what they did in that scene. So, while they obviously fixed up Atticus in the end, that was such a brutal scene. And the fact that even though they only cliffhanged it there for 1 day, the fact that kids had to wait 24 hours to find out, to get a satisfying conclusion to that and to get Atticus back, man, that must have been a brutal Friday at school for those kids who were just fucking loving Infinity Train, and then episode 8 just ripped their souls out before they could watch episodes 9 and 10 the next day. They would have ripped my soul out if I had to wait a day to watch the last 2 episodes after watching episode 8. And you know, I've seen a lot of fucked up things, but I think when you know the nature of a certain show, I think that does add even more, like, just oomph to a moment like that. Because, like, obviously, that was a brutal moment, but when you add in the fact that this is a cartoon that is primarily aimed towards kids, it does kind of add an even stronger element of power to the scene. Although, even if this was, like, an Adult Swim show or something, I still think that scene would have been just as powerful because it was so well done. You know, learning about Amelia's backstory was another thing. I know I'm talking a lot about the final episodes, but I feel like I'm just kind of talking about things that I want to talk about while trying to keep this video not too long, relatively speaking. I expect it to be probably 30 minutes or so, but I don't want it to be too much longer than that if I can help it. The thing about the Amelia's backstory was I like how she's just this regular person who ended up on the train and took over as the conductor. Because when they were building up the Amelia backstory, it was feeling like they were going to tell us the origins of the Infinity Train. But in what I considered a bit of a swerve, it turned out that the conductor was just another passenger who happened to take over the real conductor and become the conductor herself. And I thought that was a really clever way of kind of setting up the future of Infinity Train by not revealing the secrets, just teasing them, and then in the end really giving us nothing. I thought that was really well done. And then, you know, as far as the final episode, you know, Tulip sacrificing her chance to escape in order to try and help her friends was great. Obviously, she was still allowed to leave in the end because one's like, oh yeah, it's no deal. As long as you're at 0, that's fine. I think the moment when we saw Amelia's numbers, like tattoos all over her fucking body, that was an incredible moment of just like, holy fuck. And similarly to Chrome Tulip, I'm super excited to see Amelia again, because just like Chrome Tulip and Atticus and 1-1, Amelia's another character that I think is a lock to see in a future season of Infinity Train. In fact, the only characters that I think aren't a lock are the characters from Wisconsin, like whether or not we're going to see Tulip or Michaela or Mom and Dad. Those are the characters that I don't know if we're ever going to see again. But I do fully expect to see 1-1, to see Amelia, to see Chrome Tulip, and to see Atticus again, because those characters are still on the train and are, you know, part of the train. So it's going to be really, well, 3 of them are part of the train, and then in the case of Amelia, she's a passenger, but she ain't getting out anytime soon. So it's really cool to see those characters, because I expect to see all of them again in the future at some point. Even if we don't see all of them in Season 2, I expect to see them eventually. So that's really exciting, and I can't wait to see where that goes. Other things to talk about, because like I said, the Episode 5 was brilliant and was just like this big moment about how, you know, kind of embodied that whole fantasy versus reality Evangelion type shit. And was even done in a slightly Eva-esque way, really fucking with Tulip's head. Crystal Carr had the meme song. As far as the first episode was really cool. I loved when she got off the train and first encountered the soul-sucking bug things, and obviously learning more about what that was about later on was even cooler, how that kind of came full circle in Episode 8 when Atticus got turned into one of them. I thought that was really well done. Another thing that was interesting was watching Episode 3, which was more or less the pilot, and it had a few changes, but for the most part, obviously a little longer, for the most part it was just the pilot, which I thought was actually pretty cool, because the pilot was so good. So to see it again as part of the official show, for those who watched this show without watching the pilot, it was really cool that they got to experience what was more or less the pilot in the 3rd episode. So I really appreciated that, even though it kind of left me without much to really react to, because I had seen all of it before, more or less, in a slightly different art style and, you know, a slightly just different looking and shorter, abridged version of it. But it was really good. One of the only episodes I haven't really talked about Episode 2 or Episode 6. Obviously in Episode 2, we met the guy voiced by Karan, who I believe was named Randall, and then we also met the cat for the first time before other stuff happened with the cat, and that was fun. The other episode I haven't really talked about is episode 6, The Unfinished Car, which was a failed attempt by Amelia, as we would learn later on, to rebuild her life and hopefully eventually rebuild her husband, which was really sauce. What I really liked about The Unfinished Car that I thought was really good was you know, that moment with 1-1 and Tulip towards the end was so emotional, and so, you know, it was such a resounding moment that kind of solidified the previous episode. Because, well, the first 4 episodes were really good. Episode 5 was where this show really took it up a notch, and while I don't think episode 6 was as good as episode 5, that episode 6 ending really put this show up another notch, and I really appreciated what they did with that. And then from there, you know, I mean, episode 7 was good, episode 8 was fantastic, episode 9 was great, episode 10 was fantastic. Like, really, you look at the second half of the show, and from 5 on, those episodes are all pretty much amazing. I mean, and even the ones before it were really good, but I felt, you know, maybe not as much as 5 on. But anyways, I thought this was an amazing show. I really wanted to kind of keep this kind of just general and just talk about a few things that I really enjoyed and appreciated. I don't want to get too into it because, like I said, I think I said a lot in my reactions already, and I'm talking about 10 episodes, so I don't really want to break down each episode, like the plot, you know, episode by episode, which is kind of what I did for 289 to 292, A Fairy Tale. You know, I did the first review. Of course, this one, that one, even then, there was like plenty of stuff that I didn't mention, but I kind of generally did talk about the plot and then things I liked and didn't like or whatever. I think one of the only things that I could say I wasn't a big fan of was, I think, you know, actually I'm going to take back what I was going to say. So I didn't say it, so never mind. But I actually thought about it more, and I really don't have a problem with it. So I should cut that out, but I'm not even going to bother. Because, again, I like to keep these one cut if I can, because it's already a bunch of extra stuff I have to do on top of the normal stuff. And, yeah, in this particular case, I wasn't expecting to have to make this, but unfortunately I did. So it's going to be fun to see where the show goes from here. But even if this show was just 10 episodes and this was just all that Infinity Train had for us to offer, I would have been satisfied with this. But I am very hyped for Season 2. Maybe not as hyped as Season 1, but I will say that Season 1 lived up to my hype. And I think, especially with more time and more content to give us, this show has a chance to be the greatest cartoon of all time. I don't know if it'll get there, but it has that chance, and who knows how long this show's even going to end up being, or again, the format of the show. Who's going to be the main character in Season 2? Will it be Tulip? Will it be someone new? Will it be Chrome Tulip? Will it be Amelia? Who effing knows? But what I do know is that Infinity Train is amazing, and I can't wait for more, and I hope you guys enjoyed the reaction. I feel like this review was probably not as good as my Fairy Tale one because I didn't go quite as in-depth. I was kind of talking more in generalities, but I still hope you guys enjoyed it if you watched it, and I'm going to cut it off here. So it ended up actually being quite a bit less than 30 minutes, so it's more about the same length as the Fairy Tale one, which, again, says a lot. But then, at the same time, really, 4 episodes of Fairy Tale is about 8 episodes of Infinity Train. So maybe I should have just ran through the episodes one by one. But I feel like if I did that, it would have been an hour long. And I'd prefer not to make this video that long. So anyways, I can't wait for more. And I really hope that... I really don't care how long it takes. But I really hope that Season 2 builds off the momentum of Season 1, and this show can really solidify itself as something unique, something different, and something special on Cartoon Network. So anyways, Flamin' Shark, about to bid you adieu. Thanks for watching. Okay, I fucked that outro so much, because it's time to bid you adieu. Flamin' Shark, signing out. Hope you guys have a wonderful, fantastical day, and I'll see you guys next time with another video. Thanks for watching. Peace.